The year is 2020, on the Boso Peninsula. A sleepy coastal village rests under a mountain's shadow. But this place is haunted by a 20-year-old tragedy. A lone car cuts through the desolate streets. Inside, we meet third-class investigator Segawa Rios. He groggily realizes he's reached his destination. Without warning, his car door is torn from its hinges. He's thrown out into the biting, unnatural cold, a chill that has lingered since the Great Dragon disaster. He steps onto the cracked pavement, ready for work. The entire village is silent, completely devoid of life. A strange creature on his shoulder confirms his fears. The residents were evacuated, victims of a powerful curse. A curse not unlike those seen in the Great Wars of Europe. It poisons the very air and water, making life impossible. Ryosi wonders what kind of preparations this mission requires. Turns out he skipped the briefing. Reading is hard, okay? His little companion is clearly not impressed. The source of this chaos is a marriage hunting curse. Ryosei is, to put it mildly, completely baffled. Yes, you heard that right. A matchmaking curse. It was all part of a local event to revitalize the town. A curse designed to automatically pair up compatible singles. The event was ironically named the Happy End. And by matching, it means physically binding people together, which explains why our boy has been sent in alone. He can't understand why a curse this dangerous was unleashed. The creator is missing, but the curse's power source remains. And Ryosi's mission is to find that source and secure it. But it seems they're not as alone as they thought. He stops, sensing a presence on the empty street. From the shadows, strange figures begin to emerge. They creep forward, their forms unsettling and bizarre. Ryosi turns, finally facing the source of the noise. A group of cheerful octopus mascots greets them enthusiastically. They congratulate the new couple, announcing a perfect match. Ryosei is once again completely and utterly lost. His companion explains these are the village's mascots. They were meant to be guides, but are now autonomous agents of the curse. And with a sinister smile, the lead mascot prepares to match them. The companion warns him that the happy end has activated. Ryosei wonders if his little partner is secretly a girl. That's a hard no. If not his companion, then who is the curse targeting? In the distance, a lone girl runs for her life. She's trespassing in a restricted zone, with mascots in hot pursuit. His companion advises him to ignore her and use her as a decoy. But Ryosi recalls being told that helping people is his duty. The creature dismisses that as a mistake. This isn't charity work. Ryosei decides if his partner was wrong, then he'll be wrong now. The companion asks if this is some kind of penance. Ryosi remains silent, his expression unreadable, a brief flash of a past filled with fire and destruction. He smiles, calling it a self-satisfying act of kindness. Without another word, he vaults over the guardrail. He shouts out, initiating a curse application. His phone displays a series of magical apps, modern tools of the trade. Since the dragon disaster, magic has been streamlined into technology. Down on the beach, the cornered girl opens fire. The bullets strike the mascot but fail to pierce its skin. Ryosei is stunned. A real gun? But it's useless against a familiar. He calmly makes a call to his provider. With a single word, he invokes the curse, Al-Kazam. Threads of light weave together, forming a weapon from thin air. The girl watches in awe as it flies past her. It intercepts the mascot, its surface as hard as tank armor. She can't believe what she's seeing. Ryosi casts out a line, pulling her to safety. He swings into action, a blur of motion. Landing between her and the cursed creatures, he's bought them a precious few seconds. The weapon shifts, its second form revealing a flexible staff. He unleashes a flurry of strikes against the mascots. The cursed agents are dispatched with ease. His reward for saving her? A gun pointed right at his face. The girl angrily demands to know who he is. He tries to explain he's not her enemy. She claims to be a professional killer, and a robber and an arsonist. She's got quite the resume. But Ryosi's expression remains unchanged. He calmly points out that her hands are shaking. Flustered and exposed, she can only lash out in anger. Ryosi takes a moment to think of the right words. He introduces himself with a disarming smile, a simple civil servant. She's not buying it, recognizing his military-grade magic. He explains it's just a commercial app available for years. Apparently, even government work involves fumbling for your ID. He presents his card, third-class investigator, spell security. He tells her what's chasing her, the happy end. The girl realizes with dawning horror that she's the target. And now, so does Ryosi. She then drops a bombshell. She created the very curse hunting them. With no time to waste, they commandeer a boat and escape by sea. Ryosei uses his phone to get a closer look at the shore. He confirms the cursed mascots won't follow them into the water. Inside the cabin, he's surprised to see the girl piloting the vessel. She handles the controls with the confidence of a seasoned captain. She explains that she's always had to do things on her own. Rios listens intently, piecing together her story. She finally introduces herself as Namatame Urumi. His companion suddenly appears, giving Urumi quite the shock. The creature explains it's a familiar, on loan from his boss. Apparently, not all familiars are designed to be cute and cuddly. It reveals the curse's creator is registered as Namatame Mangetsu. Urumi confirms the family name matches, but not the first. Mangetsu is her father. She created the curse at his request. Rios is stunned that someone so young could wield such power. She simply states that working alone is more efficient for her. He asks the obvious question, why use her father's name? Rios climbs topside, saying the name is irrelevant now. The curse has gone rogue, and Urumi came back alone to fix it. She angrily blames him for interfering with her solo mission. He calmly replies that he could say the same thing to her. Rios realizes they share the same objective. Find the source. Urumi scoffs, claiming its location should be obvious. The source must be at the dilapidated village hall. It was the center of the event, now guarded by the cursed mascots. She grabs him, condescendingly asking if he's smart enough to keep up. Rios just smiles, completely unbothered by her attitude. Flustered, she says that at least they're on the same page now. He confidently tells her that dealing with guards is his specialty. Urumi is still suspicious, asking if he's some kind of soldier. He awkwardly tries to explain it's a special service. His companion chimes in, helpfully clarifying that he's an ex-terrorist. Urumi is stunned into silence by the revelation. Rios just smiles, completely unfazed by her shock. They arrive back on shore, approaching the dilapidated village hall. He invokes his curse once more, Alakazam. The threads of light wrap around a nearby pickup truck. With a flick of his wrist, he sends the vehicle flying. The mascots guarding the entrance are caught completely off guard. The truck smashes through the glass doors, clearing a path. So much for a quiet entry. Rios steps confidently through the wreckage. He stands with Urumi, telling her it's time for a major cleanup. She looks at the destruction, still doubting his civil servant cover story. He calls forth his weapon, changing its form with a new command. The threads of light coalesce into a sharp, elegant blade. He moves like a phantom, cutting down the cursed agents. He notes that a blade is far more effective in close quarters. It's also more cost-effective than throwing trucks around. He tells Urumi to stay close and not to leave his side. He admits, however, that he has no experience as a bodyguard. Urumi fires back, insisting she never asked for his protection. Rios ignores her, asking for the source's location. Urumi explains it's on the first floor, feeding on the area's rich magic. Suddenly, a voice from the darkness welcomes the new participants. A much larger, more dapper mascot emerges from the shadows. Urumi realizes with dread that it was waiting for them. The creature turns and greets Urumi by her full name. Rios notes this one is different. It's not just a mindless puppet. The creature confirms it's being remotely controlled by an outside party. The creature taunts them, claiming there's no real danger here. It reveals it knew Urumi's sense of responsibility would bring her back. Urumi seethes, realizing this person is nothing like her father. She screams that her father has nothing to do with this, but the creature chillingly implies that he does. It claims her father, Mangetsu, abandoned his family to escape with her. Rios connects the dots. Her father's name was used as a shield. The controller laughs, admitting they were completely deceived. It announces the truth. The genius curse master was never the father, but the daughter. The controller finds this revelation deeply amusing, but its amusement doesn't translate to mercy. Rios calmly states that he'll make them pay for this. The remote controller initiates a curse of their own. A new spell is invoked, its name echoing in the hall. Threads of light weave into a complex mechanical form. A single menacing eye activates on the new construct. They recognize it instantly. A powerful military-grade curse. The controller summons a massive mechanical guardian to the field. Because nothing says happy end like a giant death spider. Rios braces himself, noting this new enemy is incredibly strong. He calculates its trajectory, preparing to dodge the simple charge. But he quickly realizes he can't evade this one. If he moves, the attack will hit Urumi directly. Without hesitation, he takes the hit, shielding her with his body. The force of the impact is devastating, blasting him across the room. He collapses to the floor as Urumi rushes to his side. He grits his teeth, knowing he can't survive another hit like that. Urumi stands her ground, defiantly facing the mechanical beast. She screams in a mix of anger and desperation. A voice echoes in his mind, reminding him he's no longer a terrorist. He's a civil servant now, and he has a job to do. He wanted to be someone who could help others in times like these. He admits that getting blown away wasn't exactly pleasant. But he's grown since his old days. He'll be fine. Besides, he still has his magic terminal in hand, which means one thing and one thing only. He can still fight back, blocking the spider's next attack. The controller is impressed, noting he aimed for the joints. They wonder who this skilled fighter could possibly be. Annoyed, the controller calls in reinforcements. The smaller cursed agents swarm towards Urumi. Rios realizes with a curse that they've been separated. He's quickly being overwhelmed by the cheerful octopus horde. He invokes another spell, trying to break free. But it's no use. Urumi is on her own as he's pinned down. He's completely immobilized, buried under a pile of cursed plushies. The controller mocks his failed attempt at chivalry. It finds his struggle amusing, calling him quite the entertainer. The mascots tell him that he's the one who's amusing. Urumi realizes Rios is far more capable than she gave him credit for. She sprints through the abandoned office space. She decides to trust him, knowing he's counting on her. But her path is blocked by another cursed agent. Suddenly, the mascots pinning Rios begin to glow. The controller looks on, completely baffled by this turn of events. Rios asks if the controller didn't know the curse's deactivation clause. Urumi has reached the front desk, finding what she was looking for. It's a marriage registration form, with both their names on it. She frantically insists that it's not a real one, of course. The curse's goal was a happy end, even a fabricated one. By submitting the form, they've technically fulfilled the curse's conditions. The remote controller is silent, processing this unexpected loophole. Rios explains the curse's simple logic. A marriage means mission accomplished, which means the octopus agents are gone, but the spider isn't. With a confident smirk, Rios tells the controller they've already lost. He initiates another curse application, going on the offensive. With a familiar cry of Alikazam, he unleashes his power. A new spell slams directly into the mechanical guardian. The controller can only watch as its machine takes a critical hit. It's shocked that he could pierce its armor head-on, finding it interesting. The voice on the other end vows to remember the name, Sagawa Rios. Back in the office, they've found the source of the chaos, the spell server. With the situation contained, Rios prepares to seal the curse for good. Urumi is furious that her work was twisted for such a malicious purpose. She explains the clients called themselves a family, possibly some kind of mafia. She doesn't know much, only that her father was one of them. He called them the Mjito family. The name rings an ominous bell for Rios's familiar. It realizes this is a major clue connected to a dangerous organization. Urumi is confused by their sudden serious turn. Rios decides he needs to know more, inviting her to come with him to Tokyo. The offer catches her completely off guard. Her first instinct is to refuse, turning away with a blush. But she hesitates, remembering what just happened between them. She recalls how he put his faith in her during the fight. She asks if he really believed she could pull it off. Rios just shrugs it off as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. He says his specialty is letting capable people do their thing. A true master of delegation. His complete trust in her seems to have made an impression. She admits that while she hates being underestimated, he's different. With a newfound resolve, she agrees to join him, deciding he might be useful after all. He cheerfully explains his philosophy. Kindness is for one's own sake. For a working adult, he says, the only thing that matters is the result. With the lecture over, he declares it's time to seal her magic. He tells Urumi he'll handle it, as it's too risky for her to do alone. His high-tech solution? A simple voice recording app on his phone. He clears his throat, preparing to record the deactivation command. The message is simple. This curse is no longer in service. How very corporate. The scene shifts, showing how the world has changed since the dragon disaster. Dragons are now a common sight, integrated into daily life. At a shipping port, they're used as living cranes for heavy lifting. When a dragon isn't enough, workers invoke their own strength-enhancing curses. Magic has become just another tool for blue-collar labor. In the city, curses are used for everything, even floating advertisements. Magical signs guide pedestrians through the bustling streets. But with magic so widespread, talk of new regulations is in the air. A businesswoman panics over a failed data transfer. She summons a familiar, a magical courier, to send the files instantly. The bird of light zips away, a testament to modern magical convenience. Elsewhere, a man is hopelessly stuck in a massive traffic jam. He reluctantly decides to use a special service from MRN Industries. This service grants access to a private highway known as Loop S. A sign marks the entry point where the curse can be activated. Back in their car, Rios speaks the command into his terminal. He gives his name and the application is instantly approved. The car suddenly lifts off the ground, much to Urumi's shock. They're welcomed to a highway in the sky, a private road for the elite. Urumi is speechless as Rios explains they're on a materialized road. He casually offers her some gum, completely unfazed by their flight. Urumi realizes this isn't a service available to the average person. Rios confirms it's for the rich and powerful, a luxury of the new world. Rios explains that with the right connections, travel is a breeze. They soon arrive in Tokyo, heading for his office. Their destination, the Spell Security Control Office. Inside, they're immediately met with a heated discussion. Urumi insists she's told them everything she knows. She recounts how her father, a curse engineer, took jobs from the Mjito family. Rios presses her, revealing the family is an international terrorist group, an organization that twists magic to tear down society's foundations. Their supposed goal is a world of smiles, a twisted and dangerous ideology. Urumi accuses him of hiding something about the case. He just smiles, admitting his suspicious nature is just part of his personality. She demands to see his real boss, but the duty roster says he's out of town. Rios suggests they take a break, much to her annoyance. He offers to get her a drink on the company's dime, of course. She eyes the surprisingly advanced office vending machine. She settles on a hot lemonade, still looking unimpressed. He simply speaks the order into the machine. A cup magically appears, filled with a steaming beverage. With drinks in hand, he returns to the grim topic of the Mjito family. Urumi reluctantly agrees, admitting they're a problem for her too. Suddenly, Rios's demeanor shifts, demanding answers with startling intensity. Just then, the office door bursts open. A cheerful woman with pilot goggles announces an emergency. Rios recognizes the woman, calling her Kichi. She reports a new urgent case has just broken out in Shinjuku. And with it, a mountain of paperwork lands on his desk. A civil servant's true nightmare. She quickly delegates the new case to him before heading out on another mission. Rios is left buried, muttering a protest that goes unheard. She winks, saying she's not worried since their boss is with him. But as he tries to correct her, she's already gone. Kichi makes a dramatic exit, leaving Rios in her dust. Urumi is baffled by the woman's sudden appearance and exit. Rios sighs, accepting his fate as the office's go-to problem solver. Urumi, ever the pragmatist, tells him to get a move on. They arrive at the scene of the new incident in Shinjuku. A witness frantically recounts the bizarre events that just unfolded. He claims his wallet suddenly sprouted wings and flew away. The winged wallet then took off into the sky. Yes, you heard that right. Rios processes the story, concluding it's a clear case of magical crime. He asks about the cargo, which thankfully remains untouched. The driver is more concerned about his wallet than the laws of physics. Rios believes he can still find traces of the curse's magic. He pulls out his terminal, ready to scan for residual magical energy. He explains that every curse has a unique waveform, like a magical fingerprint. Urumi leans in, unimpressed by the amateurish spell signature. He notes that these signatures often contain the creator's personal data. Urumi suddenly recognizes the waveform on the screen. With dawning horror, she realizes it's one of her own creations. It was a simple spell designed to retrieve lost remote controls. She insists it's a perfectly normal thing to create. Rios is not convinced. He can't believe he's investigating a magical lost and found app. She explains that the curse has specific activation requirements. First, the user must physically touch the object to mark it. Then, they must declare its features to summon it. Rios is impressed by the spell's elegant and complex design. She claims she built in safety protocols to prevent its misuse. The original spell had a range limit of only 3 meters, but someone has modified it, boosting the range to a full kilometer. Rios is amazed she can decipher all this just from the waveform. For a genius like her, the waveform is an open book of code. She explains that reading this data requires a high level of skill. Urumi is furious, realizing her curse has been misused once again. Rios connects the dots. This is the work of the Mjito family. She sarcastically calls it a revolutionary spell for a common pickpocket. The thief's method is simple. First, they spot their target. Then, they make brief physical contact, marking the wallet. Finally, they retreat to a safe distance and summon their prize. Urumi is livid, insisting they can't let the culprit get away. Rios stops her, asking if she has a plan to catch them. She declares she'll build a counter curse to get the wallet back. Without a moment's hesitation, she begins coding on her laptop. Rios is stunned she can create a complex spell on such a small device. She scoffs, saying it's easy to replicate her own work. His familiar asks if she's actually memorized every curse she's ever made. Urumi states the obvious. Of course she has, she's the creator. Ryose is left completely speechless by her casual genius. He can only manage a nervous smile, clearly out of his depth. He realizes the Mjito family must be searching for something specific. The familiar advises him to cooperate, to avoid involving more civilians. Urumi challenges him, saying she'll take matters into her own hands. To her surprise, Ryose calmly agrees not to stop her. She's taken aback, having expected him to argue. He teases her, asking if she really thought he'd get in her way. His expression turns serious. He won't stop someone doing the right thing. He recognizes that she is someone he can truly rely on. Kneeling down, he formally asks for her help with the case. The familiar warns him of the risks, but Ryose is resolute. It reminds him of a time when he was the one who needed saving. He vows that this time, it's his turn to protect someone else. Urumi fires back that she never asked for his protection, but he just smiles. He turns to the driver with one final request. For this operation to succeed, he'll need his full cooperation. Ryose promises that he and Urumi will absolutely protect him. And so the plan is set in motion, with Urumi riding shotgun. The driver asks for his instructions, and Urumi tells him to just keep chanting.
She explains that since he's already touched his wallet, it's been marked.
All they have to do is drive around the city, broadcasting the spell's signal. Urumi seethes, vowing to make the culprit regret ever stealing her work. She reassures the nervous driver, telling him to trust her. With a newfound determination, the driver agrees to the plan. He slams his foot on the accelerator, ready for action. The truck speeds through the streets as they begin the counter-curse. Meanwhile, Ryose watches the city from a rooftop high above. He tracks their progress on his phone, monitoring the situation. He notes calmly that the hunt has begun. His familiar remains skeptical, warning that something could still go wrong. Ryose reflects on his desire to guide people in the right direction. He smiles, saying it feels like being a real magic user. A true hero. The familiar calls his sentimentality childish and far too naive. Ryose just shrugs, saying that's what the person who saved him would say. Down below, the driver chants the spell, summoning his wallet. A man in a beanie is caught off guard as the winged wallet flies towards him. The driver spots the thief and yells for someone to stop him. From his perch, Ryose confirms the target is nearby. He stomps his foot, preparing to make his move. The familiar protests his recklessness, but Ryose leaps from the building. The thief grabs the wallet, only to be tackled by Urumi. He's stunned, demanding to know how she got his curse. She doesn't answer, instead delivering a powerful blow to his side. The impact sends her stumbling back into the street, right into traffic. The thief curses, caught completely off guard by Urumi's tackle. With no other choice, he initiates a curse application of his own. He invokes a spell called Scarface 45, forming a weapon from dark energy. Urumi is stunned, recognizing it as a powerful military-grade curse. But before the attack can land, Ryose drops in from above. The thief is shocked to see another curse user interfering. He looks up to see Ryose hovering with black wings, calling it overkill. Ryose lands between them, preparing a counterspell. With a familiar cry, he unleashes his own magic, Alikazam. Threads of light form a barrier, easily deflecting the thief's attack. Ryose's wings dissipate as he lands, the danger neutralized. The thief scoffs, boasting that his weapon has a long reach. Ryose calmly reveals that his can extend too. Never bring a knife to a magic whip fight. He unleashes a new spell, a devastating slash of pure energy. The attack sends the thief flying across the street, completely defeated. In the chaos, Ryose's magic terminal slips and shatters on the pavement. He stands over the downed culprit, the situation finally under control. He casually apologizes to Urumi for being a little late. Urumi can only stare, surprised by his timely and dramatic rescue. She quickly turns away, pouting that it wasn't a big deal. Ryose just smiles, teasing that she could have handled it herself anyway. He then turns his attention to the captured Mjito family agent. His expression darkens. It's time for some answers. He looks at his broken phone, realizing he needs to shut down Urumi's curse. A citywide broadcast announces the spell is no longer in service. Elsewhere, a spoon in a glass bends, signaling a new presence. A well-dressed man watches the scene on a tablet, confirming Urumi's identity. The feed shows the driver on the phone, reporting that he finally got through. The observer finds this all very interesting, asking a professor for their thoughts. The mysterious professor replies that they can't let their target be captured. The observer asks if she has a bodyguard, and the professor confirms it. The professor is revealed to be the remote controller from the village incident. He jokes that Ryose is a legendary figure, before dismissing him as a nobody. The well-dressed man warns that being interesting won't save them from capture. The professor casually agrees, enjoying a rather elaborate drink. He declares their next move, to take away the hero's safe haven. This, he says, is the Mjito family's core philosophy. Back on the street, Rios prepares to leave with a confused Urumi. They arrive at an apartment building, which is to be Urumi's new safe house. She finds the building surprisingly normal for a high-security location. Rios explains it's a hybrid home, powered by both magic and electricity. The building is protected by a top-tier security firm called Walcure. He demonstrates the security system with a simple voice command. The door slides open, welcoming him by name. He cheerfully explains it's a bit more advanced than a standard auto-lock. He shows her a key card, explaining its advanced security features. If an unauthorized person tries to enter with a companion, a massive magical spider web instantly blocks the entrance, a bit much for a welcome mat. He warns her not to touch it, as it's designed to trap intruders. In the elevator, Urumi comments on the creepy aesthetic of German curses. They ascend to the 5th floor, their destination in sight. They finally arrive at the door to her new apartment. He opens the door, welcoming her to her new home. She admits it's better than a hotel, as Rios tells her to relax. Then he drops a bombshell. He'll be living right next door. Urumi is, to put it mildly, not thrilled with this new arrangement. He explains it's a form of house arrest, a decision that's already been made. He tells her to assume she's a target, making his protection necessary. She protests, calling it overprotective and treating her like a child. He ignores her, musing that having a male agent as a constant shadow is the real issue. He suggests a female agent can take over tomorrow if she's more comfortable. Just then, Kichi appears, announcing she's the other agent on shift. Back in his own apartment, Rios asks his familiar for a little help. And so their strange new living arrangement begins. He tells Urumi to let him know if she needs anything at all. He even offers to make a housewarming dinner. What a suspiciously good neighbor. Rios smiles, genuinely happy to be helping. Urumi watches him, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. Her mind drifts back to a distant, painful memory. She remembers her father, Mangetsu, cooking in their kitchen. He would pat her head, promising that dinner was almost ready. The memory fades, leaving her with a quiet melancholy. In the present, Rios skillfully prepares their meal. Urumi watches the news, a simple, everyday moment. She realizes it's been a long time since she's felt this normal. Rios breaks the silence, bringing up the recent case. He reveals the thief they caught knew nothing, having bought her curse online. Urumi is stunned to learn her work is being sold on a ghost net. He explains her spells are being traded in a virtual space built into the city. Rios confirms that illegally modified versions of her curses are in circulation. Their mission is now twofold: hunt the Mjito family and protect her. He presses her for any information she might be holding back. Without warning, the balcony doors explode in a shower of glass. Urumi is knocked off her feet by the sudden blast. Rios's expression hardens, his instincts taking over. He lunges forward, pulling Urumi away from the danger. A large cardboard box lands on the balcony. Special delivery, it seems. Urumi stares in confusion, wondering where it came from. Rios pulls her back, shielding her with his body. He warns her to stay back. This is far from over. Urumi flinches back, warned not to touch the mysterious package. But Rios cautiously approaches, grabbing a knife from the kitchen. He carefully slices through the tape, ready for anything. He lifts the lid, revealing the contents to a stunned Urumi. His eyes widen as he processes what he's seeing.
Inside is a pile of broken toy trains, not exactly a bomb.
Suddenly, he tells her it's an emergency alert, urging her to look up. The sky explodes in a brilliant display of fireworks. He realizes these aren't fireworks, but unidentified objects across the city. His familiar appears, confirming it's time to move out. Urumi apologizes, feeling responsible for the chaos. He tells her this is just a welcome party. His duty is to protect her. She scoffs, calling his protection what it really is: surveillance. For now, all she can do is wait for dinner in her supposed safe house. She reflects that a peaceful, ordinary life is no longer possible. A memory of her father surfaces, a ghost from a simpler time. A door slams shut in her mind. There's no going back. The next day, they arrive at a nondescript SSR facility. They've collected all the bombs that fell, which turned out to be junk. Rios is just relieved no one was hurt and nothing was damaged. He explains he spent all night visiting every location to collect the items. With the cleanup done, he suggests they finally take a break. His idea of a break involves a high-tech instant noodle cooker. Civil servants eat well, I guess. As they eat, he compiles data from other agents and the police. He explains two common threads: the packaging and a loud noise on delivery. His theory is simple. It was the sound of a military-grade spell. A spell that dangerous requires a safety, which means it's a commercial product. He suggests they investigate a major spell corporation, but Urumi disagrees. He's caught completely off guard by her sudden correction. She clarifies that the loud noise wasn't a spell, but a simple party cracker. Ryosi is still processing this, asking if she means party crackers. She pops open a can of coffee, her expression grim. She reveals this is the work of a birthday celebration curse. Ryosi is completely lost. So, a magical birthday delivery service? He can only ask her to repeat what she just said. She angrily confirms she made a curse to deliver gifts with a bang. Ryosi quickly connects the dots. They need to find the recipients. And then, a horrifying thought crosses his mind. His familiar senses his sudden change in mood. He shouts in disbelief, realizing Urumi's birthday was yesterday. She snaps that a convenience store meal doesn't count as a celebration. She tries to dismiss it, focusing on the culprits who stole her spell. But her anger is palpable as she storms out, vowing revenge. The familiar notes that she seems genuinely upset by this. Ryose leans back, regretting that he didn't ask her sooner. The familiar puts it all together. The Mjito family used her own curse against her. Meanwhile, Urumi searches through the junk, certain this is their work. Ryose can only agree, his expression grim. He decides that even if he can't tell her why, a celebration is needed. For a birthday, a proper celebration is an absolute must. Back in the pile of junk, a single item stands out. They continue to sort, Ryose amazed at the spell's citywide range. Urumi explains the complex modifications made to her original design. He's once again impressed by her genius, which she dismisses as basic. But he points out it's not just the scale, the power required is immense. The spell was designed for delayed activation, leaving no trace until it's too late. Too much time has passed, making the magical trail impossible to follow. But Ryose is certain the answer lies within the junk itself. Urumi questions the logic of using her spell to deliver worthless junk. He holds up an old video game, calling it a truly wonderful spell. Urumi vows that this misuse of her work is unforgivable. Ryose examines a bicycle among the junk, noting it was brand new. Suddenly his eyes widen with a flash of insight. He's found their lead, a simple anti-theft sticker. He explains it's embedded with a dedicated tracking curse. Some can even trap thieves, but this one is more basic. All they need to do is trace its registration history. The data leads them from the seller to the buyer, and then to a junk collection service. Their destination, a nondescript used goods collection company. Urumi realizes they used her spell to illegally dump worthless junk. A truly villainous cost-saving measure. The familiar suggests they wait for backup before going in. But Urumi is seething, furious at their disrespect. She vows to make them pay as Ryose senses movement above. A box is dropped from a window aimed right at them. Ryose reacts instantly, pulling Urumi out of harm's way. He shields her as a dark, shadowy curse manifests. This is no ordinary company. They're being judged by sinister forces. Inside, the ringleader orders his men to buy him time to escape. They invoke a new curse, preparing to open fire. Down below, Ryose and Urumi see the building light up. Ryose is furious. They're attacking someone on their birthday. The boss yells that the boxes are just full of glass shards. Ryose has had enough, unleashing his own spell, Alikazam. Threads of light shoot out, intercepting the falling projectiles. With a powerful swing, he prepares to counter. He smashes the boxes against a truck, neutralizing the threat. Urumi grabs him, but he insists he can't let anyone get hurt. The culprits inside panic, realizing they're about to be caught. Ryose grits his teeth, determined to end this now. He contains the falling debris, protecting both the people and property below. Ryose is furious that her birthday has been so awful. He says that's why they're here, to stop things like this. She grabs his coat, calling him an idiot. But she's clearly flustered, calling him a genuine idiot. Ryose just smiles, a little embarrassed by his outburst. He continues to juggle the falling debris with his magic. He calls out for help, asking for a hand with the cleanup. His familiar thinks he's a fool for trying to do it all himself. Just then, a second-class investigator named Eno arrives. A man is suddenly launched from the building above. They call out her name, Kotsune. A muscular woman with horns responds with a cheerful cry. She lands with the force of a meteor, shaking the ground. Eno Kotsune has officially joined the party. She tells Ryose he can relax now, praising his efforts. He asks for her help, and she guarantees their safety. She declares it's the duty of the elite to protect the weak. A true hero complex. She invokes a spell of her own, its name echoing in the street. She prepares to show them the power of Japanese biodynamic magic, her muscles tense, crackling with raw power. With a single leap, she rockets towards the building. She smashes through the wall, much to the culprit's surprise. She tells them not to worry, she's got this. She looks down on the defeated men with a hint of pity. She tells them to learn from her and live a more righteous life. Her brand of justice is, to put it mildly, terrifying. With the grunts taken care of, they enter the building. Urumi spots the ringleader making a run for it. Rios quickly invokes his own spell to stop him. The threads of light shoot forward, closing in on the fleeing boss. The ringleader's escape is cut short by pure terror. Rios's spell pins him to the door, ending the chase for good. With the culprit secured, Rios declares everything is now evidence. They find the spell server, the source of the illegal dumping curse. Urumi watches him, a thoughtful expression on her face. A citywide broadcast confirms the rogue curse is now offline. Later that night, back at the safe house apartment, a surprise is waiting, a beautifully decorated birthday cake. Urumi is completely speechless, caught off guard by the gesture. Rios explains it's a belated birthday party, better late than never, right? He admits he just felt like it was the right thing to do. Kotsune crashes the party, trapping Urumi in a bone-crushing birthday hug. She asks Urumi how long she'll rely on curses. Urumi is not amused. Kotsune claims her muscular form is to provide a sense of security. Urumi thinks it's just intimidating. Ryose offers her some lizard skewers, which she immediately rejects. Kotsune reveals that Ryose waited in line for 2 hours to get that cake. He begs her to keep that quiet, trying to maintain his cool image. Kotsune is suddenly overcome with remorse, apologizing for her thoughtlessness. She admits she doesn't understand the feelings of the weak. This team has issues. Rios ignores the chaos and lights a candle on the cake. He gently asks if she'll have a piece. He tells her this is the best welcome he can give her right now. Urumi looks at him, her usual defenses starting to crumble. With a slight blush, she quietly agrees. Elsewhere, the Mjito family is making their own plans. The well-dressed observer points out a building from a high-rise window. He confirms their target, the genius girl Urumi, is right there. With a sinister smile, he declares it's time for everyone to move. 2 new agents appear, ready to manage the invincible HR department. The observer dismisses them, ending the meeting for the day. Business as usual for the bad guys. The Mjito family's invincible HR department has arrived. Back at the safe house, Kotsune's idea of a follow-up is intense. The story shifts to the past, to a younger Urumi returning from school. She arrives at her family's home, a quiet rural house. A girl full of life with a bright and hopeful smile. She calls out to her father, Namatame Mangetsu. He welcomes her back, along with an elderly guest. The elder notes that her father's workshop has always been her playground. He speaks of humanity's potential, of magic breaking all limits. He leaves with a cryptic mention of the Mjito family's ancient history. Urumi asks her father about a time before magic was commonplace. He explains that before the dragon disaster, magic was not for everyone. The disaster made magic accessible, but true control remained elusive. This led to curse engineering, a system for the masses. But the Mjito family had been using magic in secret for generations. Urumi can't imagine a world without such convenience. With a single keystroke, she creates a new spell. Her hair instantly changes color, a simple but brilliant creation. Her father is completely stunned by her casual display of genius. She proudly shows off her new hair coloring curse. He can't believe it, calling her work absolutely incredible. He pats her head, proudly calling his daughter a true genius. She worries the new color might be a bit too flashy for the city. Her talents weren't just for fun. She created spells to help crops grow. Her magic helped the community thrive in a world scarred by disaster. She was happy, feeling like she truly belonged. A happy life, a peaceful existence, until he arrived. A villager runs to the elder, shouting about a man by the river. They find an injured young man, collapsed and barely conscious. He's brought to a clinic, identified as a powerful magic user. The man is weak, but his eyes hold a quiet resolve. The elder graciously accepts his thanks for their help. The man shakes his hand, vowing to repay this debt one day. But soon after, the kind elder passes away. The stranger takes his place, addressing the community as their new leader. He speaks of a new vision, of repaying the past by helping everyone. Sounds like a great guy, right? But Urumi senses something is wrong as her father stands by his side. A deep unease settles over her, a shadow over her happy life. Her father, Mangetsu, shares her apprehension. He can't shake the feeling that something is terribly amiss. Urumi discovers they're building a massive aerial curse. She realizes if the pieces are combined, they'll create a weapon. Her father feels powerless, with no one left from the old guard to turn to. She begs him to stop, but he says he's only doing this to protect her. Urumi screams that this isn't the man she knows as her father. He can only look back with an expression of deep sorrow. Horrified, she runs from the man he's become. She tries to reach him, to understand what's happening. But soon her classmates begin to disappear. The entire village is slowly vanishing around her. She panics, desperate to know what's going on. Her father finally breaks his silence, calling her name. He tells her they have to escape now. He urges her to go on ahead, promising to follow. A month passes in a blur of fear and uncertainty. She follows his instructions, running to their meeting point at the port. She clings to his final promise to her, a promise that he would absolutely come for her. But the news reports a body found in Fukuoka. It's him. Urumi stands alone on the pier, waiting for a father who will never arrive. The next morning, a call from Rios shatters the silence. He cheerfully greets her through the screen. A little too cheerful for this hour. Urumi is less than thrilled to be awake. He reminds her of their shopping trip, a promise made the night before. She groggily remembers she has nothing to wear. With a sigh, she agrees to get ready. She tells him to wait, forgetting it's a video call as she changes. Rios is caught completely off guard by the view. She promptly throws her phone, vowing to never video call again. Elsewhere, the Mjito family is on the move. The well-dressed observer and a new female agent circle the block. Apparently, even villains struggle with parking. She complains about his constant chatter, but he just calls it market research. He explains that every good product needs a compelling story, and Urumi's tragic past is the perfect narrative to sell. He's practically giddy, certain her story will be a bestseller. The female agent checks her watch, announcing it's time. In another location, a large, menacing man does the same. Back at the safe house, their target is about to leave. Rios waits patiently for Urumi to get ready. He apologizes for waking her, but she's already dressed to go. His familiar appears, complaining that he's taking too long. Urumi reminds him this is all part of his job, a necessary expense. She walks ahead, coolly stating she knows it's just business. Her words seem to leave Rios a little unsettled. They head down the hallway, the mission officially underway, but their quiet morning is shattered by the sound of breaking glass. Rios's instincts kick in, pulling her to the ground. Urumi can only stare in shock at the sudden assault. A small projectile rolls to a stop on the floor. A heavy boot stomps down, announcing a very unwelcome guest. 2 new agents from the Mjito family have arrived to collect their merchandise. Rios shields Urumi, asking if they really think he'll just hand her over. A brief flash of his past. A group of outcasts, each one only for themselves. He admits that once upon a time, he was no different. The female agent just smiles, clearly enjoying the confrontation. They stand in the wreckage, ready to take what they came for. Rios notes a strange, unsettling familiarity in their faces. He calls them out, saying their choice of words gives them away. He asks Urumi if she recognizes them, but she has no idea. She says the Mjito family she knew was nothing like this. Her peaceful life was shattered the day he arrived. Rios tries to ask who she's talking about, but the agent interrupts, saying the family has changed a lot since the old days. She offers a twisted friendship since they're the same age. How thoughtful. Rios cuts her off, calling it a pointless conversation. The agent sighs, admitting her plan to stall an escape was discovered. She makes a break for it, but Rios is already casting a spell. A magical arrow of light shoots from his hand. The agent turns, initiating a countercurse of her own. She summons a powerful defensive shield called Rampart S. The arrow shatters against the barrier, its attack nullified. The shards ricochet back towards Rios and Urumi. But Rios's spell wasn't just the arrow. The threads of light wrap around her leg, yanking her off balance. She's shocked by the spell's precision and power. Even as she falls, she seems to think it's good practice. Her partner steps in, declaring this will bring them closer to their goal. He stomps his foot, unleashing a devastating area of effect curse. The entire hallway floor erupts and collapses into a chasm. The attack creates a massive gap, cutting off their pursuit for good. Rios tells Urumi to hold on tight as they prepare to move. With a flick of his wrist, he uses his magic to swing them across the chasm. They soar through the air, leaving the stunned agent behind. Urumi can only watch in awe at his unexpected maneuver. She realizes he channeled magic directly into the floor to create an anchor. A primitive but incredibly powerful technique, not a standard spell. Rios knows they need to get out before the fight causes more damage. But their escape is cut short as a new enemy smashes through the wall. The well-dressed observer from before cheerfully introduces himself. His mechanical companion follows suit, giving its name as Fukunaga Koichi. Rios finds it odd for a terrorist to give such a polite introduction. He asks Urumi if she recognizes the man, but she doesn't. She furiously accuses the man of stealing and modifying her curses. The robot confirms it, stating its job is to adapt her work for clients. Urumi screams that they're just enjoying the chaos they're causing. The robot enthusiastically agrees with her assessment. The observer just laughs, finding the whole situation delightful. The robot adds that it's loved parties since it was a child, A robot with a childhood, sure, why not? Ryosei has heard enough, invoking a new spell of his own. His weapon shifts, forming a deadly, elegant scythe. He lunges forward, clashing with the mechanical beast. But he's shocked by the sheer force of his opponent's defense. The impact sends him flying across the street. Urumi calls out his name as he crashes to the ground. He struggles to his feet, realizing his sharpest attack didn't leave a scratch. The robot taunts him, noting he's been heavily modified since their last encounter. Urumi asks if he's all right, but he just promises he'll handle it. He apologizes, saying this isn't how the day was supposed to go. All he wanted was to give her one normal, peaceful day. The robot simply boasts about the Mjito family's superior technology. The robot offers a simple solution. Just hand Urumi over to them. But Ryosei sees through their plan. They're just stalling for time. His familiar steps in, telling Ryosei to fall back and let it handle this. Ryosei agrees, trusting his partner completely. The robot is surprised by this sudden change in strategy. The observer seems delighted, making a call about his famous new opponent. The familiar invokes a powerful command, unleashing its true power. The robot is suddenly engulfed in a swirling vortex of dark energy. From the darkness, countless eyes stare back, a truly unsettling sight. A massive white tiger spirit emerges, a legendary beast of immense power. It lunges, pinning the mechanical guardian with overwhelming force. But something is wrong. The familiar seems confused by the outcome. The tiger is caught in a strange spin, its attack neutralized. The observer shouts a command, activating a powerful counterspell. A powerful beam of energy erupts, striking the familiar's true form. The great beast is defeated, collapsing under the force of the attack. The dark energy recedes, leaving the street in an eerie silence. Urumi realizes with horror that the familiar has been completely consumed. Nearby, a white van waits, their escape vehicle ready to go. Ryosei looks down at his shattered terminal, the connection severed. The observer laughs, marveling at the power he's just witnessed. He declares this whole episode will be a fantastic story for their clients. Urumi asks if the man was just another remote puppet, worried about Ryosei. He explains that with his familiar gone, he's temporarily immobilized. His familiar's voice echoes, explaining its systems are fried and need repair. Suddenly, a powerful figure lands nearby, calling out their names. It's Kotsune, arriving with their ride in the most literal way possible. With their unconventional transport secured, they can finally regroup. Ryosei smiles through the pain, glad that he could keep her safe. But she just looks back, pointing out that he's the one who's injured. He brushes it off with a smile, claiming it's just a scratch. In the van, Urumi fumes, insisting he's the one who's hurt. He asks if she's angry he put her in danger, but quickly corrects himself. She snaps back that her anger has nothing to do with that. Her hand tightens into a fist, her frustration clear. She laments that if she were a true adult, she could handle this herself. But the words die on her lips, leaving her feeling powerless. Suddenly, Kotsune shouts in alarm, staring at her laptop screen. She frantically reports that something is happening all over Tokyo. A massive explosion rips through the side of a skyscraper. Ryosei and Urumi can only watch in stunned silence. The chaos isn't isolated. The entire city is under attack. They realize the fight with them was just a diversion, a citywide terror attack designed to spread their forces thin. He processes the terrifying scope of the Mjito family's plan. Urumi realizes all this chaos is just to capture one girl. The weight of that responsibility settles heavily upon her, but Ryosei turns to her, promising that she's not alone. He declares that protecting people is what heroes do, and he's a civil servant, which is basically the same thing. Urumi turns away, a single tear escaping her eye. She insists she never wanted to be protected in the first place. Ryosei watches her, his own thoughts hidden from view. The van hits a bump, the silence inside now deafening. Kotsune glances back, telling Ryosei they have a lot to talk about. She leans out the window, urging them to speed things up. Up ahead, the two Mjito agents are making a run for it on foot. Kotsune gives him a cheerful thumbs up. His enthusiasm is lacking. Urumi asks what their destination is now. With the city's magic grid jammed, there's only one safe place to go. Ryosei says they'll be fine if they can reach the shelter. Probably. The city burns, a question hanging in the smoky air. Below, chaos reigns as civilians flee for their lives. Ryosei can only watch, realizing how dire the situation is. Their path is blocked. The city's arteries are completely severed. Urumi confirms that travel by road is now impossible. The familiar notes this chaos is on par with the dragon disaster. Urumi says things weren't like this before he arrived. Ryosei picks up on the mention of this mysterious figure again. He tables the discussion. Their only goal is the Sky Tower shelter. Kotsune cheerfully offers a much more direct mode of transport. And by transport, she means literally carrying their van. HR would have a field day with this, but Rios has a slightly more conventional plan in mind. He reveals their destination, the Demon Gate Railway, an emergency subway line built for exactly this kind of disaster. Its purpose, to safely transport civilians using a powerful curse. Urumi realizes the train itself is a massive living familiar, a familiar whose design is, to put it mildly, an acquired taste. Rios just laughs, saying only Kotsune's family could pull this off. Kotsune proudly declares they work tirelessly to protect the innocent. She demonstrates her protective power by nearly suffocating Urumi. She even offers Urumi her special enhancement exercise program. Urumi suddenly connects the dots, remembering Kotsune's family name. Rios confirms it. The Institute is her family's company. Kotsune reveals she's the daughter of a corporate giant. Of course she is. The Eno family is an ancient line of powerful curse users. They rose to power after the Great Dragon disaster. Now, they run a massive corporation that works with the government. The map shows they're just moments away from the railway entrance. From there, it's a straight shot to the safety of the Sky Tower. But his familiar senses something is wrong, trying to warn him. Their escape is short-lived as they speed down the highway. From the rooftops, the two Mjito agents have caught up. Rios and Urumi sense a new threat approaching fast. He recognizes the spell, a curse that launches objects like cannonballs. The agents use it to propel themselves, a highly unorthodox travel method. His familiar warns that its main body is still on its way. The female agent prepares to launch another attack. She unleashes a new spell, a dark sphere called Meteor. The projectile hurtles towards them with devastating speed. Rios shouts for Kotsune, knowing she's their only hope. Without a word, she leaps from the van to intercept. She invokes a spell of her own, preparing to meet it head-on. With a single punch, she shatters the incoming curse. A very direct approach to problem-solving. The impact carves a massive trench into the city street. The shockwave tears through the surrounding buildings. The female agent is sent flying, caught in the blast. Kotsune lands, having completely neutralized the threat. The Mjito agents are impressed by the Eno family's power. The man, Fukunaga, finds this new development quite interesting. He looks down at Kotsune, acknowledging her immense strength. She just smiles, confirming that she is indeed very strong. She declares that as an elite, she trains to protect the people. Fukunaga dismisses her heroic speech as utter nonsense. Kotsune questions his lack of a higher purpose for his power. She asks him what his grand ambition could possibly be. He invokes a new spell, its name hinting at immortality. He channels his magic directly into the ground below. He reveals his true goal, to become an immortal being. The street erupts in a violent explosion of rock and energy. Kotsune looks down, completely unfazed by his display of power. Kotsune meets his attack head-on, their fists clashing in a shower of sparks. She realizes he's also using a powerful body enhancement curse. He admits her technique is crude but undeniably strong. Fukunaga reveals his grand ambition, to make all of humanity immortal. Kotsune is unimpressed, calling his method simple terrorism. He claims this chaos is a trial, a path to a higher existence. She's completely baffled by his twisted logic. A gift? Seriously? She's heard enough of his philosophical nonsense. With a final word, he leaps away, disengaging from the fight. Meanwhile, back on the ground, the streets are descending into chaos. The observer and the female agent abandon their car, their target nearby. The female agent looks on, her expression grim and focused. Suddenly, the street is swarmed by small mechanical spiders. These are identified as small-scale military drones, hope flights. The female agent urges Urumi to run for her life. Their only hope is to reach the safety of the underground passage. Civilians flood the entrance to the Demon Gate Railway. Rios turns to Urumi amidst the explosions and panic. He notices she's faltering, asking if she's injured. With no time to waste, he scoops her into his arms. She's completely flustered, trying to protest the sudden rescue. She insists he leave her to avoid getting caught in the crossfire. But Rios isn't listening, his focus fixed on their escape. He looks at the terrified civilians running for their lives. He sees a mother desperately trying to protect her children. A faint smile crosses his face, his resolve hardening. He quietly remarks on how incredible the scene is. Urumi realizes that despite the chaos, he's completely calm. She reflects that she's only been focused on her own problems. She tells him they need to find another way, a different path. He just smiles, agreeing that she's probably right. Urumi is flustered, calling him an idiot for his heroic speech. He assures her he's not making fun of her at all. With a familiar cry, he invokes his spell, Alikazam. The mechanical spiders swarm forward, ready to attack. He tells Urumi to get back to the van. There are far too many. He calmly reassures her that everything will be fine. He declares that this kind of work is his specialty. A civil servant's true calling, apparently. With a flick of his wrist, he dispatches the drones with ease. He grits his teeth, determined to see this through. He stands alone, a one-man army against a tide of steel. In the end, he realizes this is all he's truly good for. He launches himself into the fray, ready to carve a path. The street erupts in a massive explosion, clearing the way, but a massive armored foot slams down, shaking the ground. A new challenger appears, a massive, lion-headed warrior. Rios recognizes the familiar, scolding its user for being so reckless. The beast roars, revealing its specialty as pure destruction. It unleashes a torrent of fire, engulfing the street in flames. Rios stands his ground, knowing its attack has a fatal flaw. He waits for the perfect moment, the briefest opening. He unleashes a counterspell, its name a whisper of power. His attack strikes true, a direct hit to the familiar's head. The beast collapses, defeated. He can finally help people this way. He wonders if this path will let him get closer to others. But Urumi's voice cuts through the chaos from a nearby rooftop. He looks up, calling her a fool for getting so close. He sees the van, now wrapped in his own magic, floating in the air. Urumi is at the wheel, demanding to know what he's doing. Rios is pulled off his feet, completely stunned by her move. The scene flashes back, showing the female agent caught by a drone. Fukunaga, the mechanical man, admits the fight was a difficult one. Kotsune stands over him, the powerful heir to the Eno family. Fukunaga seems impressed with himself for taking on such a powerful foe. But Kotsune lands a devastating kick, easily overpowering him. The female agent confirms that their man has been captured. She and the observer make their escape, leaving their comrade behind. Kotsune can only watch as they fly away, calling out to Urumi. Back in the present, Rios stands alone amidst the city's ruins. He wonders why Urumi would leave his side at a time like this. His hand clenches into a fist, a storm of emotions brewing inside. He feels he can't care for others the way she can, the normal way. He believes that in the end, he's no different from his past self. A quiet admission that this is how it's always felt to him. Without his job's rules, he can't grasp normal goodness. Guess the civil servant handbook doesn't cover that. It's a feeling that has followed him for a very long time. He questions if defeating his enemies is the only way to prove his worth. Standing over the fallen beast, he believes it's the only path he knows. His eyes narrow with a cold, hard resolve. But Urumi's voice cuts through his thoughts, disagreeing completely. She reminds him of the kindness he's already shown her. He thinks back to a past failure, one he can't forget. He vows to himself that this time, he will take it all back. Urumi's hand rests on his shoulder, grounding him in the present. Two massive columns of dark energy tear through the city. A new threat has emerged. She tells him that saving people is just another normal thing to do. Rios smiles, realizing that's what a good person would do. His familiar agrees, seeing the profound change in him. A newfound confidence shines in Rios's expression. The familiar wonders if this is what it feels like to have a true master. A memory surfaces of a younger, broken Rios. He vowed he would never become like that man. Kotsune's voice snaps him back to the present. She asks if he's all right after the intense battle. He grits his teeth, assuring her that he's fine. Their first priority is to secure the railway entrance. They need to seal it off before the fires spread any further. Kotsune cheerfully confirms the area has already been evacuated. With a powerful slam, she secures the gate. Leave it to the professionals. Rios's expression hardens. Now it's time to get Urumi back. He prepares to use a curse to unlock the gate's security. Meanwhile, Urumi lies captive, her own spells rendered useless. The Mjito family is on the move, their prize secured. The female agent taunts her captive over the phone. Her eyes hold a cold, professional detachment. Urumi glares back, refusing to be broken. On the other end, the observer smiles, trusting his agent's work. He mentions her family name, the Yuga clan, known for handling hostages. The agent snaps, warning him to never speak of her family again. She declares that part of her life is over and done with. The observer moves on, confirming they've disabled Urumi's terminal. Her phone and wallet lie discarded in a nearby bush. The agent mocks Urumi, calling her a helpless child without her magic. Urumi asks why a mercenary would work for people like them. She calls the Mjito family scum, demanding an answer. The observer calmly agrees with her assessment. They are, in fact, scum. But they pay well and hold more power than the government. The agent explains it's simply siding with the more profitable adults. Urumi scoffs, telling her that's not what being an adult means. She asks what an adult is, saying the agent reminds her of her father. Urumi screams that she can handle things on her own. The female agent just erupts into a fit of laughter. She pins Urumi down, telling her she's still just a child. Urumi is helpless, unable to do anything while restrained. The agent calls her a pitiful, powerless thing. Urumi can only grit her teeth in silent fury. Her mind races with the creed she's always lived by, to be self-sufficient. But she realizes with dawning horror that she can't escape alone. A single thought cuts through the despair. A single name, Sagawa Ryosei. That foolish, unreliable man she just met. A glowing endorsement, really. She recalls his strange definition of an adult. A simple civil servant. And in that moment, she knows with absolute certainty he will come for her. So she leaves a sign, a magical breadcrumb for him to follow, a single thread, a desperate spell woven in secret. She clenches her fist, her faith in him unwavering. Lying in the dark, she calls him an idiot, but her eyes say otherwise. Back in the van, the observer's voice reminds them to file the paperwork. Ryosei's team gets an update. Urumi's terminal has gone dark, but the screen shows a new signal, a faint magical waveform. They've found it, a looping thread of magic, a trail left just for them. Kichi is stunned that Urumi created a tracking spell on the spot. She's already planning Urumi's recruitment into the SSR. The familiar confirms their target is heading for Tokyo Bay to escape by sea. Kichi urges them to speed up, suggesting they call for backup. But Ryosei is already on it, saying their contact is out of the office. A voice on the radio confirms they're monitoring the city remotely.
Kichi wonders why their boss is still at home during a crisis.
The familiar explains she's a homebody who would be devastated if it was damaged. Ryosei listens. The name of his boss finally revealed, Tsuchimikado Tsukasa. His boss is from the legendary Tsuchimikado clan, masters of ancient magic. A fact that seems to make Ryosei incredibly nervous. He hesitates, asking if he really has to make that call. Kichi tells him to get over it. The city is literally on fire. But the thought of calling his boss makes him physically ill. Suddenly his boss appears on screen, yelling at him for being late. Kichi just laughs as Ryosei panics over the botched mission. Tsukasa scolds him, saying he should have consulted her immediately. He can only stammer out a weak apology to his superior. He wonders if she's angry that he couldn't be reached. She insists she's not angry, while looking incredibly angry. Classic boss move. Kotsune tries to console him as Tsukasa continues her tirade. She asks if he's even been listening to her this whole time. She declares that from now on, she'll be by his side. She calls the situation an emergency, accusing him of being a thief. Ryosei is stunned, insisting he hasn't committed any crime. She questions the legality of his plan to rescue Urumi, but then she agrees to guide them, her tone shifting to serious. From her high-tech command center, she begins to coordinate the chase. Her fingers dance across the keyboard, invoking a powerful spell. She enters a digital space, becoming one with the city's data streams. Her digital avatar appears in the van, ready to direct the operation. She tells Ryosei he owes her big time for this personal assistance. Kichi promises to follow her every command without question. A sudden realization seems to dawn on Kichi. The van speeds through the empty streets, guided by their remote boss. Kichi leans out, a new plan forming in her mind. With a powerful strike, she rips the side mirror from its frame. She holds up the mirror, revealing a hidden tracking device. Tsukasa notes the device is a free rider, a common but crude tracking curse. Tsukasa confirms their fears. 100 drones are targeting them directly. Ryosei isn't surprised, noting their main tactic is simply harassment. Tsukasa admits that even with her power, she can't protect them from home. But Kichi seems to have a sudden flash of inspiration. She leaps from the moving van, declaring she's called for backup. A look of absolute confidence crosses her face. She lands perfectly on the roof, announcing her arrival. A bit dramatic for someone who was just inside. Ryosei can only call out her name as she apologizes for being late. She explains the police are handling the citywide terror response. She tells the others to leave this to her, drafting Ryosei as her assistant. The familiar warns there are far too many enemies for just the two of them. But Kichi is unconcerned, drawing a beautiful katana from thin air. She crouches on the roof, ready to spring into action. Her eyes are filled with a cold, focused resolve. With a single elegant slash, she deflects the mirrors of nearby cars. The projectiles are sent flying back at their pursuers. Ryosei recognizes her signature move, a spell named after herself. Her blade is a specialized terminal, allowing for autonomous, curse-driven attacks. She looks up, her eyes fixed on the swarm of drones above. The mechanical pursuers close in, ready to strike. She stands her ground, a confident smile on her face. She unleashes a massive whirlwind, a spell called Heavenly Wind. The vortex of energy spins wildly around the van. It creates a protective barrier, allowing them to drive right through the chaos. The drones are caught in the storm, torn apart by the magical gale. They're sent crashing into the windows of the surrounding buildings. Rios realizes Kichi is definitely not suited for subtle bodyguard work. Kotsune just smiles, clearly enjoying the destructive show. Kichi declares she'll take care of the rest of their pursuers. She gives Rios a confident wink, telling him to get Urumi back. Rios apologizes for leaving her with such a messy job, but Kichi just smiles, admitting she lives for this kind of chaos. She leaps into the fray, promising to go all out. As their van speeds away, the street erupts behind them. Rios notes this is the first time he's seen her true power. With the rear guard handled, he focuses on the road ahead. Tsukasa reports their target is heading for the Rainbow Bridge. She boasts that she's also a genius, having cracked Urumi's spell. Rios can only marvel at her incredible skill. She asks if he can counter-track them. Of course she can. The spell is called Rapunzel, a beacon for them to follow. Tsukasa admits she had to simplify the code just to read it. A humble brag, if you will. Rios just smiles, admitting he's not on their level. Urumi's genius lies in her complex curse construction, while Tsukasa's specialty is in high-speed analysis. Rios notes they're all experts, but probably wouldn't get along. Tsukasa warns him that his performance review is on the line. Suddenly, Kichi's avatar appears, shouting his name. Rios is startled, wondering what's happening now. His familiar's eye widens, sensing a strange interference. It warns him that something is very, very wrong. Rios feels it too, a disturbance in the magical network. Kotsune looks over, her expression suddenly serious. She calls out to Tsukasa, her voice filled with alarm. Kotsune realizes their magical connection has been severed. The enemy has deployed a massive citywide ceiling curse. Rios checks his phone, confirming they're still on the right path. He decides to cast the counterspell just in case. He initiates the application, invoking the name Rapunzel. The connection is made, but the feedback is overwhelming. A voice on the other end praises Urumi's cleverness. He's impressed she could set such a complex tracking spell. But the connection is suddenly strained. The voice reveals they've captured her terminal and cut the spell. Rios recognizes the voice with dawning horror. Kotsune looks over, sensing his sudden change in mood. She calls out his name, but he's lost in thought. The voice on the other end just laughs maniacally. He taunts Rios, confirming he knows he's listening. The observer finds this twist of fate incredibly amusing. Rios grits his teeth, whispering a single word, "Professor." He realizes the true identity of the Mjito family's boss, a man he thought was long gone, Hakuto Hao Hakim. The professor casually confirms his survival over the phone. Rios is left completely stunned by the revelation. The professor warns them not to follow, taunting them from the bridge. He adds one final, chilling message as smoke fills the air. The spell you are trying to reach is no longer in service. How very corporate of him.